right, welcome back to Beer, Bacon, and Bros. As always, I'm Alex. We've got Adam over here, Chris over here, Keith sitting this one out just because he wanted to lend his expertise to other places right now. But we're going to jump right into the first round of the Stanley Cup playoffs is officially done and over with. Teams are already home. Other teams are moving to other cities, getting ready for Game 1 of the new series. But we're just going to get a little bit of reaction. In my opinion, it was fun chaos. Was the first round.
That's a
great way to describe it.
lot of interesting upsets.
Yes.
I would think.
Yeah. So the big ones, obviously, Colorado Avalanche, the defending champs, getting eliminated in the first round by an expansion team who's only been in existence for 2 years. The Bruins, who set or NHL, they didn't set a record, but got to the 60-win mark.
I thought they did set the regular season win.
No, yeah, you're right. They did. They set the regular season. They set the regular season win record. Got up to I think 64, 65, something like that. Got the win mark, and then they got eliminated in the first round by the Florida Panthers. Who, fun fact, Florida was of all the teams that made the playoffs, Florida had the least points in the NHL standings.
Wow.
So you basically had the number one overall seed versus the true last seed, the last team in, and the last team in ended up winning.
Glad to see a Southeast team actually do well.
Yeah.
So not only that, but Carolina Hurricanes moving on.
Carolina's moving on. Yeah. As the number one team's expected.
But still, we've given them so much crap on this channel.
Yeah, because they always get in the playoffs and just they fizzle out somewhere along the line. They don't make the run.
Yeah.
And then the other team to finally make a breakthrough, Toronto.
Yep.
Way to go.
First time since 2004 they've gotten to the second round.
Glad to see you in the second round.
Good. And to beat Tampa Bay, too. Consistently one of those teams.
And even though they were a 3 seed, was definitely a sleepy team. A sleeper team to keep your eye on. Somebody that
I wouldn't say
quietly move in.
I wouldn't say a sleeper team like Alex was just.
People just kind of forgot they were there.
The last 5 years, they've won 2 cups in 5 years.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not a team to sleep on. It's still a very dominant force, I think, in the NHL.
Yeah. So, I mean, you got a pretty cool matchup here. You got the Florida Panthers who, by all right, they're playing like they shouldn't be there because, I mean...
They shouldn't be there.
Yeah, I mean, the odds on Florida to make it in round 2, I wish we could have
gotten those. I want to know what the live line was for them to win Game 7 was.
Oh, yeah, I wish you could see the chart of how it went throughout the game. Because at one point in time, they were up 3-0. No, they were up 2-0. And the next thing you know, Boston was up 3-2.
Yeah.
And then Florida scored the third goal with 58 seconds left on the clock. They pulled the goal. They got the extra skater out there. 58 seconds off of a shot from center blue line almost. Hit a Boston guy. Just pure deflection to a Panther. Just stand there just like, oh, okay. And then just slaps it in. I mean, through a hole that was like that big. Through behind by the Bruins netminder. Wayman, I think is his name.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was what a fun game to watch. It was really cool because I think the key to Florida winning that one, and reading a lot of the Boston players, they kind of said the same thing, was Florida played aggressive on the puck when they were on defense. At one point in time I watched Boston was trying to take it out of their defensive zone into the offensive zone, but before they even got to their blue line, there was a Florida guy there checking the puck carrier on the blue line. You hardly see that.
Yeah.
So it was really cool to see the Panthers just being like, "Hey, we're
going
to be in your face."
Yeah.
The whole game.
Even when they were defending a power play, they're down a man. I felt like
they were aggressive with it.
Oh yeah, normally you got the four skaters and the box just kind of shifts to wherever the puck is, but that one guy closest to the puck would still even slide in and try to take the knee to block a shot, but he'd also be moving towards the guy to
skate out.
Forcing him to do something. You're not just going to stand there.
Yeah.
So that was really cool to see. Vegas moving on.
Not a shocker there.
Dallas moved on. Edmonton moved on. Not a shocker on that one.
I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see Dallas. I know this time last year, or I guess technically a month ago, or a month from now, last year we were talking about teams to make the playoffs. I said Dallas then to make the playoffs. Almost 2 weeks ago now, 3 weeks ago now, when we did our reactions to people making the playoffs, I'm glad to see them actually moving on.
I mean, Minnesota's definitely no joke of a team. That was a really good first round matchup, even though it only went 4-2. But I think my favorite things of seeing was Seattle being able to overcome Colorado. That was obviously super unexpected. Another great 7-game series. I love the fact that there's 2 Canadian teams still in the playoffs. There's still a chance for a Canadian team to win a cup here, but super excited to see Edmonton. I think the Edmonton and Vegas matchup is probably going to be maybe what I would say the most anticipated heavyweight matchup of the second round. Like when you have the Florida Panthers and the Kraken moving on as 2 teams that you of course didn't think were going to move on. It's exciting still because Toronto now has a better chance of even getting into the conference finals, but I would say the heavyweight, certainly on a scoring perspective, you're going to see some 7-8 goal games between Vegas and Edmonton.
I think the other one that's going to be a sleepy or a good series, but kind of sleeper series, is the Hurricanes Devils series.
I think that's got potential to be a really good one.
Yeah.
The Devils, we know they're a scrappy team. So at one point in time, they were down 2 games to the Rangers. Ended up winning, I think, 3 straight. Dropped a game and then ended up taking Game 7. Yep. So I mean, that was just a really cool series to watch. New Jersey, like I said in the last video we did, was one of those teams where I felt like they got hot and then cooled down at the right time, to where they had that cool off phase plenty of time before the playoffs, and now they can pick it back up and get back to work, getting their groove again. And then Carolina's just playing really good hockey right now too. So
I feel like New Jersey, the youth of New Jersey, kind of hit them in the first 2 games, and then you saw them really settle in the next 3 games, play their best hockey. Sure, they dropped a game in Game 6, but coming back again and winning Game 7. But
yeah, but you're also, no one's expecting them to go from 2-0 to just the next 4 wins. We'll let you drop the 1 game after 3 straight wins in the playoffs. Like,
of course,
that's okay.
I do think the New York matchup would have been, like, as I look at the bracket and obviously both
Rangers versus Islanders.
Yeah, like that would have been just electric in New York.
It's been like hockey's version of the Subway Series.
That's what I say. You just take the 3 stops down the train to get to the other arena.
Because they don't play in the same arena, do they?
I don't. No, they don't. One of them plays more towards, like, I say upstate, but more like towards the north end of the island and everything like that. Yeah. Actually I forget the name of the islands. I'm not from New York, but the weird fat island that shoots off. That's Long Island?
That's Long Island.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Islanders are on Long Island, and then obviously the Rangers are in Madison Square Garden. Yeah, the Islanders are over there on Long Island.
Okay.
That'd been really cool, just a little Subway series. The series I'm hoping for, just because I said like in the group chat, would be Toronto versus Seattle. Is that what I said?
Yeah, the expansion team versus Canadian, long time.
Yeah, they would literally be. I mean, you're talking from like this very southeast of Canada to the very northwest of the United States. Like, they're basically on the same parallel, but they're 2,900 miles away from each other. Like, that'd be the longest out of all the cities. I think that's the biggest gap. I thought Vegas would come close just because they're diagonal, but they're, I think, just a couple 100 miles closer to Toronto.
Okay.
Yeah, but it'd be cool to see. I mean, you got the chance to get a Canadian team from each side, and you have an all-Canadian finals.
Yeah.
So who had the more disappointing loss, Boston or Colorado?
Honestly, I think it's Boston.
It's got to be Boston.
Yeah.
Because Colorado, you're the defending champ, but you didn't go out and set records during the regular season.
I think Boston, a good team to compare them to this year, is the Golden State team that went 73-9.
I actually saw that.
And didn't win the championship. Yeah. At least they made the finals.
At least they made the finals.
At least they
did
made
not
the
got
finals
the first round
and didn't win. But yeah, if to set those kind of records in the regular season and then to just absolutely choke it away essentially in playoffs that's got to be the biggest letdown. It's got to be.
I think one of the other ones you can draw a comparison to is I actually was reading an article about this where they were comparing it to like the biggest chokes of the postseason, and one of them was the New England Patriots that went undefeated until they ran into Eli Manning in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
The 16-0, it's almost comparable to that.
Absolutely, I agree.
Yeah, Colorado's the defending champion, but it's not like they were out there just blowing people out the water like Boston was year in, year out. So I've got it pulled up just as a cheat sheet. I can't memorize all this off the top of my head, but of course, Seattle's never won a cup. Of all the teams that remain in the playoffs, this is what I'm listing off. The last time they've won a cup. Of course, you got Seattle and Vegas, who've never won one. The Panthers have never won one, but of course, Seattle and Vegas, just because they're expansion team, nothing holding against them, but the Panthers have been around for a little while. Carolina in 2006, we remember that one. The Devils in 2003, I barely remember that one. I mean, we were 9. I wasn't really into hockey much.
I wasn't watching hockey then.
Yeah. And then if this is where it gets extreme, was Dallas in 99.
I was 5.
Yeah, the Rangers in 94, we were born. Adam wasn't born yet. Edmonton 1990.
Not at that portion in 94, I wasn't.
Yeah. Toronto 1967. And I mean, like we said, Toronto, the first time since they've been to the second round since 2004. So what we like about this is just it shows that no matter what, at this point in time,
somebody's making
the longest gap is 17 years.
Yeah.
Or the shortest gap is 17 years.
I'll give you the 3 teams that have never won or the field. Who are you taking?
The field.
Seattle, Vegas. I'd have to go with the field on that one. Because Vegas is the only team that's not a wild card of the 3 that haven't won it. Yeah. I would love to see a Toronto-Edmonton finals.
An all-Canadian.
All-Canadian, and it's also the teams that have the longest gap since they've won the Cup.
Yeah. I would love that too. A big Connor McDavid fan,
I'm low key though rooting for Jersey.
I really would love to see Jersey. I think the team that I don't want to see win this is probably Carolina, because they have won it the last time. Like they've won it in the Data Reynolds. Yeah. So, seeing New Jersey, who was really bad last year.
Yeah.
To be able to kind of do this big 180 to come back to a cup, and then obviously a Canadian team would be really cool. But
Carolina still has players, I think, not on the team, but I think there's players that were on that Stanley Cup team still active in the league.
Yeah.
And all these other teams I don't think can say that. Because, I mean, there might have been a rookie on the Devils who's still playing 20 years later. Highly doubtful, though.
Highly doubtful.
So, I mean, like you said, Carolina's just the closest, so that's kind of like...
I mean, at this point, is there a person on the Toronto team that's even still alive?
Oh, that was playing when they won in 67? Yeah, that's a good question.
Because, I mean, you're thinking those guys are probably...
You're coming up on 70 years ago now.
Yeah, you're talking about somebody that's probably, let's say, 22, probably playing on that team as, a young player.
There's no way there's a surviving member.
I mean,
that would be a stat.
That dude would be in his 90s at least.
Yeah.
That would be a stat to find out.
Yeah, I'll find that stat out.
We'll find that out.
So, because, I mean, even if they're at their youngest, you're still talking about 54 years. Even if let's say they're 20, let's say they're 18, they're fresh out of high school on this team. 54 years plus that, I mean, you're in the 70s, so that could be dangerous. Could be a cool stat to come up with.
Yeah.
All right, so you're taking the field. You're taking the field as well.
Yeah, I would take the field.
Yeah, I probably would take the field.
Yeah, right now I'm rooting for the Devils. I think we're going to see Toronto move past Florida.
I hope so.
And Toronto's going to be in the 3rd round for probably the first time in a very long time.
Yeah,
probably since they won it in 67.
Yeah. We got to figure that out. But anyways, any final thoughts on first round reactions?
Are you pulling for the Devils as well then?
Listen, I'd love to see the Devils win. I'd love to see Toronto. I'd love to see a Canadian team win. If it's not a Canadian team, I'd say Devils. But
okay.
But yeah.
I mean, anybody out the West, I'd be completely happy with. You got Edmonton, Vegas, Dallas, it's been a while since for Dallas. Of course, it's been a while for Edmonton.
I like to see Dallas.
Seattle and Vegas expansion team, so love the chaos. And then, of course, out of the East, Florida, I'm just thank you for beating Boston. No real investment in them. Carolina, got a little bit of the homeboy rooting, but I'm really rooting for Jersey. I think Jersey's going to be the team to stick behind.
We got a stat update. 8 players, as of 2022, 8 players from the 67 Maple Leafs team are still alive. The youngest is 77 years old.
All right, we'll catch you after the first round, give you an update on what we think the second round, or the third round is going to be like. We'll catch you after the second round. Sorry, I got all tongue-tied there. But anyways, that's our Stanley Cup first round reactions.